Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Economic Development Committee meeting for August 25th. And please, can we rise for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The roll call here tonight, Dave Bieshold.
Present.
Erica Hill, absent. Kelly Stamming, absent. Carl Madsen, absent. Robert Godoy.
Present.
And Joe Barry.
Here.
And we have Chris Salantis.
Present.
And Jason, and Mike Aurelio. So,
Present.
Thank you. So, we would like to review the facade rebate program that some changes were made by our town attorney, Mr. Westland.
Correct.
And they did make those changes. So, and does everybody have a copy of those changes?
Yes.
Right, and did everybody review those changes? And
So if I can speak
Yes, sir.
on that, the changes were very minimal as
Yep.
from what was last passed here. The council, the economic or the redevelopment committee, the RDC, which is made of the 5 town council members, requested that
You know, that was really good.
I also do robot voice.
very good.
That the program be a little more specific as to the amount of buy-in from the business owners. That it be an 80-20 minimum grant. So you can always scale back a little bit, but that is the minimum requirement is 20% from the business owner. And then we also added in that because this is ultimately redevelopment commission dollars that are being spent, that there will also be approval not just from the EDC but from the RDC as well.
yeah.
So it'll go through a
Which is
two-stage
generally the
process.
town council.
Yes.
Yes. Very good.
Otherwise, the
Everything
same.
else is the same.
Yep.
So if everybody's reviewed that and read it, and if they're comfortable enough, then I would like to have a motion to pass this back along to the town council for final approval and to get this program started. So,
I'll make a motion to move this back to the town council for final approval.
I'll second.
in a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion approved. Thank you.
And that will be on their agenda in 2 hours.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We also got some good news this week that we're shooting for September 20th for the Joliet to be open, so that'll be good. And paving will be done in the next, week or two? Or
So we're going to have I didn't bring one thing. We're going to have the first course layer of HMA put down, I believe, in the first full week or by the first full week of September.
Yep.
Barring no more unforeseen circumstances, this project, as I'm sure every St. John resident is aware, has been plagued with, we're talking about shops on 96, more specifically 96th Street, has been plagued with delays and cost overruns, and we had a small issue with proof roll on the initial intersection of 96 and Joliet, where we had to do some additional excavating that required more thicker stone to be put down deeper because all of Northwest Indiana is a swamp and St. John is no exception to that. So we had to shore up that road. We will have the first layer of HMA down. We will open up Joliet, the intersection there at 96 and Joliet, only to through traffic on Joliet, so you will not be able to go onto 96.
Okay.
We will not open up 96 until we are done and have the final stripes on the road, which tentatively is expected to be September 20th. Again, barring no more unforeseen issues or conflicts that could arise. So we'll have the sidewalk poured, street lights up, wire pulled, all that fun stuff, grading and landscaping down, and
Sounds
that's
great.
when we'll finally open it.
That sounds
And
terrific.
the street light will be up, and then there will be a median placed on 41 to stop traffic from going onto Joliet from 41. So you will only be able to access Joliet Street, except from a right turn. You will not be able to go left onto Joliet. We will direct traffic then to 96, and that is how you'll get onto Joliet from there.
It's perfect. And that's the biggest corner where we have the most accidents
Oh, yeah.
in this community. So that's going to be a great addition to this.
Minus
So,
the,
yeah.
minus the 231 Klein and Parrish.
Yes, yes, yeah.
Yes, that's the
correct.
dangerous.
And
So-
Mike, do you know when our timetable is to finish 41?
So I just talked about it yesterday with Chairman Sweats, or President Sweats. I believe that's not until next spring, you know, and we're kind of at the mercy of NDOT.
Okay.
So we were talking about a plan to try to encourage them to move along faster yesterday. So hopefully we'll have some success. We'll try, and we're going to try
It
to have
seems
some
to be
success
at
with that.
times stalled.
Yeah, they seem to be on their own type of schedule.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's extremely frustrating.
So, in question to what Rob asked there, Astoria's putting in new home sites down where he's talking about. Can you give us maybe an update on the Astoria Project and Altof's project?
So Astoria is being
Homes.
proposed, and it is currently going through the Plan Commission process. They've been through, 6 to 8 Plan Commission study sessions, reviewing, refining the subdivision that they're proposing. So it has not yet received Plan Commission approval. Jason just brought up the site location here.
Yep.
But they are feeling confident that they have refined it enough to bring it to, I think, a Plan Commission official meeting, not a study session, in the next month or two. They're still working through their PUD, covenants and restrictions. It's a document about a half-inch thick, maybe a little more than a half-inch thick, that they just gave to the Plan Commission at a work session just last work session. So they're going to be reviewing that. The Plan Commission will be, as well as the attorney and staff here in the town hall. We'll be giving our comments to them for changes and modifications to make sure it stays in compliance with our building standards and et cetera, and then only exceeds our building standards and restrictions. So that way you get a nice product.
Is that going to be part of the gates?
It will not be a part of the
Okay.
gates.
Yeah, I was going to say, because if they have different covenants, then
Yes.
And the road impact fee is in place for that?
The road impact fee is in place, and if they do get the green light to develop, I believe it's a little over 90 lots. So we will see ultimately when each building permit is finally pulled, we will see about 90 plus road impact fees collected from that site.
Yeah, it said they were going to have about 97 lots, right?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. And then Altoff is doing a 60-home site near Palmyra there?
So they are proposing a 60, give or take, lot site. It currently is unincorporated.
Yep.
So they are going to be going through the annexation process shortly. I believe they're expecting to petition for annexation here soon, and the town council will then hear that annexation as well as the fiscal plans and all attached legal documents and things we have to do on our end. And then they will go through the Plan Commission process
Sure.
of getting zoning, because they will come in as an R1, so they will go through the process of getting either zoning or getting a site plan approved. So this is the
Both these
site.
developments, is it required that they put some sort of park in there for those residents for the 97 sites and the 60 sites, or?
So it is not required because you have a park impact fee throughout the town.
Yep.
So instead of requiring parks in each subdivision, there is a park impact fee that kind of makes up the difference for that. And also this moving forward, now that I'm here, and has supposed to have been required through the town, is when each development comes in, there's a review from staff, including the park superintendent, so they can make their comments whether they feel a park or whatever their lane of
Walking
expertise
trail
is
or all that. Yeah.
will be required. So the park superintendent has reviewed this. This is the conceptual plan here.
Yep.
And unfortunately, the town has a lot of parks. I believe the park superintendent was saying somewhere in the vicinity of 27 parks.
Wow.
And we're bringing on our third park staff member this month. So we've got 3 staff members to maintain 27 parks. So we're parks outnumber our staff significantly.
Yeah.
So it's not a matter of the amount of parks. I think it's the
A lot of
amount
maintenance.
of what is in them and making sure we get
Yeah.
the proper equipment. So this, as it's shown here,
It does look like in the center there is an area for something like that.
Yes, and that's being proposed right now. Again, they'll go through the plan commission process, and we'll make sure some of these, we'll call these pocket parks.
Yep.
As you'll see, there's no parking lot around them that would make this, it would not service anything around them other than the subdivision itself.
Uh-huh.
So we would probably push this onto the HOA for maintenance.
Yeah.
Because our Parks Department's already overwhelmed as it is.
Yep.
But we would probably look for a more regional park approach moving forward, which makes connectivity with bike paths more important.
Sure.
So as you'll see on this plan, the developer already has bike paths planned through the development.
Yep.
Which, as you probably know, Heartland Park is just north of here, and that's going to be our kind of regional park for this area.
Now that we're on that subject, what, I hear, what we talk to a lot of business owners and prospective people for coming into town and bringing businesses in, and I get a lot of feedback on the condition of Heartland Park girls softball, or the lack of condition, I should say.
Okay.
And every time I try to bring it up, there's a lot of pushback. Nobody seems to know who's in charge or who should be doing maintenance on it. But there's a lot of comparisons done in Heartland fields to other municipalities' fields, Munster, Lowell, Griffith, even Cedar Lake. And it's a very noticeable difference. So I think we either need to do a joint session, maybe a joint study session with Parks and get you involved, or if business owners are noticing this and telling me, then they're telling other business owners. So, it's something that we need to really consider, especially for all of the new residents, and they're having the young children and these new residents, and they want to bring their kids in and they want to be part of different town organizations. It'd be really nice if we can partner with whoever we need to partner with to get that done. And I know it's been a point of contention for years, because I've been coaching for years at that organization too. And it's almost like an empty hole of non-answers. So
And the business owners do donate to the teams.
Exactly. And then
But that usually goes for equipment and things like that,
Yeah.
and
So-
not maintenance, but, and we're understaffed on the parks side anyway.
on top
so,
of that,
Yeah.
Yeah, so,
There is a park board, which is a state statutory board, which is how you're able to collect a park impact fee that does oversee the parks. I would say that the good starting point would be with the park board and or the park superintendent. But certainly, and I can speak to Lowell. The town itself does not own or affiliate with that, or the park department at all. That is a separate organization on private property that is rented there. So that's,
it was just one of the comparisons I had, because
Yeah.
we had to travel to the various fields, and
it is a nice field.
And
down there.
I've been, like I said, Cedar Lake, Lowell, Munster. Munster's a gem.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure they maintain that park within the town organization itself. I mean, they're just comparisons.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want, it's just like comparisons to municipalities that border us and are beyond our borders, but within Indiana, and communities that collect less in taxes too. So that's something to think of.
Mm-hmm.
But I think maybe we should invite a joint study session or something with
Yeah,
them.
I'm open to it. I mean, if it's within the parameters of this committee
Yeah,
to do that.
absolutely.
And, gotta make sure that,
Right.
we get the right approvals here, but,
As someone that can speak with experience on fields, it is a full-time job
yes, it is.
to maintain Heartland Park with a staff of 2 or 3
Two
people.
people, I know. Yeah.
Okay, I mean,
So
we're
that's what
talking-
I'm saying. We need to address it.
Right, and you have to partner with the right field company to bring in the right product. You have to have the right irrigation. You have to have, I mean, the list goes
You
on.
have to have irrigation.
And on and on, right. The list goes on and on and on. And as someone that, I was part of the Parks Board in South Holland back in the 80s and 90s when we took on what was known then as Gowan's Park, which is right off 159th in 94. And that required 5 people
Full-time.
full-time. Okay, and that was 2 full-time staffers and 3 college or high school kid, summertime employment to maintain effectively 5 fields.
Yeah. And that was a lot for us then.
Right. But it was as nice a place as there was.
Right. Well, like I said, the calculation to get it correct is out there because
Oh, yeah.
I want to say we're the lowest of the totem pole for Northwest Indiana municipalities for that.
You wait till you see, I just was looking at the plans for what the White Foundation is gonna put in at Crown Point.
Oh yeah, that with
Oh.
well, yeah, they're doing
It is
that.
it is going to be,
It's going to be a travel organization and indoor field and it's going to just like their dome. It's going to bring in more money to the city of Crown Point.
yeah, no, it's gonna be a high
Hotels,
impact for them.
restaurants,
Yep,
everything.
absolutely.
All the way down the line.
And that's something that we would like yearn for as part of the EDC, a draw of that magnitude to our community to bring in these businesses.
Well, that kind of leads into the next part of our meeting here, because the biggest draw is going to be our riverfront permits. And if we can, Chris, and as long as Mike's in the room here too, I would like the committee to get instructions on what they're allowed to say to prospective restaurant owners and businesses that may come into town. And I would like to just kind of go over those possibilities. I know we're going to have a couple meetings with a few different businesses, but what are you comfortable with for our membership to going out? Kelly's at the bank, and she'll meet a lot of people. Everybody's got their own jobs and businesses that they can influence a lot of folks being from this Economic Development Committee. So what are you and the board comfortable with that this committee can out there and start to procure some of these meetings so we can get them to town and then kind of show them around what we're doing here? So what are you guys comfortable with?
That's a good question. I can only speak for myself.
Yeah.
Well, we do have a PDF out there already on our website, but it's dated. So I think the first thing we should do is update that PDF that we have on our town site to make it more relevant to 2021. All the names and of people that we have that have changed. In addition, any kind of development information that we could provide that someone would be looking for.
Yeah, to kind of answer your question, I think that, so at the point that we're at, so the property owner is busy at drawing up plans. They have dated plans at the moment. So they've gone back to the drawing board. I talked to them about a week ago. They're actively at it. So I think it's reasonable, and we're at the point where going and telling people who we think are good targets for St. John, I think we're there, right? And bringing those, and we're going to have to, it's going to be a joint venture between the town, the property owner, and then these businesses. I think that's where we're at. So, in my opinion, I can only speak for myself, I think that the way forward would be if you know somebody that, you've been around, if you know somebody that's going to be a good business, that would be a nice target that citizens here would like, residents would like, you want to talk to them.
Well, we've got a few meetings set up for those purposes, so hopefully we can stimulate that with the group of people that could possibly go to these meetings. So that's, I just don't want anybody to go off and say, oh, we can do this or that, and without running it by town council and town manager
Sure.
first. So,
And I think you don't want to go too far with that, because,
Right.
we're in America, and these guys, the property owner is the property owner.
Yep.
We want to encourage them to do something great for our town.
Yep.
We're doing that, right? That's what
Yep,
we're going to try
yep,
to do.
Yep.
But we don't want to make false promises.
Right.
So we want to, but at the same time,
Yeah.
we would like to, bring great companies together, right? For our town.
Well, and that's how it starts, because if we can nurture that, I believe it's just going to, one good business is going to breed another good one.
That's right.
And it's
That's
going to
right.
explode here.
Feeds on
And,
itself.
there's been so many good things that the town and the town council has done so far. And really, you start looking at what, 41 and 96th and the lights and the signage, and you can just see what it's going to be. So, and this is going to be a big asset to the town for our riverfront permits here.
So to that extent, I would simply, if you're going to be talking with someone, you have a map in front of you that
Yep.
it shows the TIF district in blue that
Yep.
you should be familiar with, and then blue/purple
Yep.
would be the 231 TIF district. Thank you, Jason, for creating this for us.
Yep.
And then it has the Bull Run ditch highlighted in a dark blue line. And we only took it so far, but there's a possibility of taking it a little further depending on where we want to target. But I would call that light green highlighted area shows the 1,500-foot radius around Bull Run ditch, and then the
It's
yellow
Yeah.
is 3,000 feet.
Okay.
So where those bubbled areas around Bull Run ditch intersect the TIF district currently is where it's possible for us to implement this program if the EDC, RDC, and Town Council desire. Now, if there's appetite if there's areas that aren't intersecting the TIF district and the Bull Run ditch highlighted areas, it's always possible to expand the TIF district. So if there are properties in here or areas that could potentially make for good candidates that we would like to see added into a possible riverfront development district, which opens them up to liquor licenses, we would have to include them into the TIF district. So that would be on top of that would be one process we would have to do, include them into the TIF district, and then we would have to create the riverfront development district that would then open it up to the liquor licenses. So it would be a multi-stage process, but we would need, this is for your review to start going through that and looking to see what's not included that would make good candidates to be approved, and to come back and say this is what we'd like added, and we can submit that to the RDC for their consideration to be approved into the TIF district.
It's underground, so it's underground.
Well, I think this is really going to benefit us. Again, I would encourage our membership and board committee members here to get out and start talking this up and sharing this with people that you think would be a good fit. And you may tell somebody, but they may not be able to do it, but they know of somebody, so that's how it starts. So
Yeah.
we just keep trying to do it. We may get a lot of no's, but we may get that one yes, you know?
And right now, I would say it's something that the town is looking into and considering. And we were also, having gone through this, looking at where Bull Run Ditch weaves through the town. It's possible to also, it would require a creation of a new TIF district, if it's desired, to potentially get this all the way over to 101st and Calumet. There are some commercially zoned parcels over there that are within 3,000 feet of Bull Run Ditch. That again, if the desire is there and there's a need, we could create a
How far
TIF
on
district.
down
out there.
Calumet does it go? Down to 109th? From
No.
101st to 109th?
Basically,
or
the
just,
first 3 or 4 blocks there.
just-
Yeah, it stops where Greystone starts.
Got it. Got it. Very nice. That's right in
Great map. It's a great map. It really kind of lays it out.
there. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is helpful, extremely helpful.
I'd like to again thank our IT director, Jason,
You're a
for
fine fellow,
illustrating this for us. He's our map guru.
Yeah, fine fellow.
Thank you.
Good job.
Anybody have any other questions for Chris on this subject with, that you may be thinking
Well,
about?
I will make a little bit of I talked to a few different people, and had an opportunity to walk the TIF district in blue there on 109th Street between the railroad tracks
Yeah.
with a civil engineer. And that TIF district right there that is shown in blue is something that would be buildable, desirable property immediately. Our problem, or not problem, but our number one concern would be is access from 109th. In talking to some people inside the county, I was referred to directly to either the combination of Mike Aylesworth and Rick Niemeyer, but it has to start there simply because it's NDOT
Yeah.
issues. I was told Aylesworth is probably the biggest proponent for it because he is an ex-NDOT employee. So he understands some of what we're talking about. That TIF property right there is very buildable. Moving north from that point, with talking with the civil engineer, there are some elevation issues. There are some low land back there. I mean, we walked back in there quite a ways. It's got some issues as far as moving north, but that initial exposure from 109th, if you use like an access, if you drive down 109th and you see the golf course that's on the south side, right there at the top of that hill between them two sets of railroad tracks, is a very intersectionable piece of property to turn into that TIF district and proceed north on flat ground, on ground that wouldn't have to be significantly changed to make it happen. But that would be an NDOT, and of course that probably requires a traffic study and.
That's right.
But I mean, the ball has to get rolling, and that's where I think, Mike, I think the council has to probably approach Aylesworth and Niemeyer and see how they can best get, NDOT involved, because if that's how we want to start, if we want to start from the south end and move north, that's the way to go. That's our best conceivable way to go.
So maybe we should get busy with some of those ideas. We're gonna have, my hope is that we're gonna have a visit here within the next 30 days from our lieutenant governor in our town hall here. We'd like to
Right.
I think that is saying,
present her with some ideas,
I think both paces.
give a captive audience, maybe, and I think we should not overload her with one, but just pick one or two.
Right.
So, we should
Well, the
consider.
reason I asked about 41 and NDOT is because it seems to be a little bit of a sore subject with people, and I'm like, do we really want to just pile on more on their plate if there's already some concerns about where we're at on 41? Because I know that was a 1.5 year long project that looks like is going to get into the 2.5 to 3 years based on some of the
Never-ending project.
challenges that they've had. So there are people that, that have their own opinion on that. But I think Aylesworth is probably the guy, and only because of his NDOT experience and his connections into the right people to talk to as far as what we would need to think about possibly some sort of a turning lane, and what our commitment would be, what their commitment, because 231 is a state road.
Dave, is it possible that we can get some of our committee members to go with you to maybe meet him and kind of present some of this?
Yeah, that's
Mike
fair.
and Chris?
I'd be fine with that. No,
You know, now that you're talking about this, Dave, 109th is a county road, isn't it?
no, it's a state road.
109th is also a state road?
231.
US 231, 109th in that area is a state
Okay.
road.
What about,
From 41 moving east.
but Joliet, Joliet is not.
It's not. That's a town. That's what I said. I went to the council thinking that we were dealing with the county, and I was immediately referred to anything east of 41.
Is it,
State road.
is
Well,
a
my,
state.
my guess, by looking at the plots and by looking at the roads now and knowing that, my guess is that it would be an idea that would benefit everyone if we were able to get county involved in getting Joliet down first and then work on 231 up as we can.
Right.
Because we are going to be able to get Joliet, from Joliet south, well before we can do anything with the state.
Correct.
So I think we should we should look at this. We should bring it up to the owner and give him give him the options that are out there and the timetables that we get back. But I can tell you, if we're going to be dealing with county, we're going to get a lot more done quicker going north to south,
And that was
and then they can connect it later.
that was the gist. But the problem is, from Joliet Street, there's no visual exposure because of the
The
industrial
tracks.
park that's there. Okay? So that's why at the last meeting, we kind of kicked around, starting at 109th or 231 and going north. And that,
We have the problem of the tracks.
right. Well, but this is the area in between the tracks, and basically it fits into that blue tipped area that, and it's flat
And we
and it's buildable.
now that we're talking about this, we might need to get our heads together as far as getting in touch with the railroad also, in the event that we have to run an initial entrance not off Joliet but off of the 96th and cross the tracks. That might be a way to go too. No,
that would be big money.
I see that as quicksand.
Right?
yeah, well that's the whole thing. I mean,
Okay, and not to say that going north of that little industrial drive area that goes to the
Right,
south.
right.
I don't know what's. I've never gone back behind there. I think that's the fire department training
behind Strack and
station.
Van Til's.
It-
Correct. Yeah.
And then but going south of there, I cannot tell you other than you can see from the overview map that. But see, the friend of mine with the civil engineer, we took a drone with, so we flew back into some of them areas back there that we couldn't walk through because of not understanding what's there. There's some elevation issues.
So we probably need to get in touch with the owner and have him do core samples, or tell him it'd be in his interest to do core samples.
I think
Wow.
with what I gave you there, a lot of that's been done.
Oh, it has been?
Right.
So you don't want to have, I mean, if they have to drive helicore and this stuff, it's not going to be worth it, and they're not.
Well, but that, like I said, that's why that property that's right on 109th
Yep.
in that TIF district, we've already got two things knocked out of the way. It's in a TIF district already, and we've got a buildable piece of property there. It's flat, it's open. There's no
It's a
tree.
start.
There's no tree removals, and number one, it's exposed to
Yeah.
the street.
It's the largest area, too, that's exposed.
It's exposed. Because I think to have a 9585 sign on Joliet Street like they originally did, people are like, man, that's an industrial park. What is that? Where am I headed?
Yes.
For a while, their exposure was some of their biggest marketing challenges. People just didn't realize what was there.
They should cut that off then.
But I think 109th would be probably the most desirable start.
Yeah.
I would agree, but like I say, that challenge brings in NDOT.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I'd be willing to talk to Ellsworth. In fact, I may see him tomorrow night, so if I do, I'm at least going to,
I'm thinking you're
In
gonna.
his ear a little bit?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a fundraiser to go to tomorrow, so I think he may show up there tomorrow.
So
right.
if,
And I may at
We-
least,
yeah, if we can't, Dave, then let's.
maybe Mike,
include
you
some
and
of
I,
the
if
other-
we can pull him aside. You wanna,
Pull
do
me in
that.
on that too.
huh?
Let's do that.
And see if we can at least get that thought in his head and see what he can do.
Sounds good.
Okay.
And
I'll,
if-
I'll be
and-
there. I'll be there too. So just
Yeah.
Okay.
let me know.
And if you can, let's include some of the other members if
Well,
they
absolutely.
want to be.
I'm not, trust me, I'm not trying to do this on my
No,
own.
no,
I'm
I-
just,
that's-
I have a
asked you-
couple of doors that I can use, so I want to use them.
And that's why I asked you to
Right, no,
do.
no, that's fine.
But I think the inclusion of the membership would,
But we need a council member there so he can
Yeah.
report back too.
well, Mike is going to go to that meeting. anyway,
Right.
so, Anyway.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Okay, well, thanks, Dave. I
No,
mean, that's
never hurts.
great work, and again, great work on the facade rebate program here, and then that'll be on the agenda in a couple hours, you think, huh?
Yep.
Well, you're good, Chris. Yeah, you were hoping it was gonna be approved, huh? Any reports? We've been kind of going back and forth on a lot of things. Kelly, you have anything you wanna let
I
us know about?
don't.
No?
I don't.
Okay. Joe?
No, I don't.
And Robbie?
I've been
Yeah.
banging on Portillo's door
Yeah.
and haven't gotten a response.
Yeah,
Didn't want to escalate it with anybody yet.
yep.
Thought might want to reach out to somebody in Sherrville before I do that.
Right, right.
So that's where I am.
Okay, good. Dave, you got anything?
No, other than,
Yeah, I have, we do have a potential business that may want to come to town. We're going to do a little exploratory meeting in a week or so. So if that develops into anything, we'll get back and notify the committee on that. So, but there's any other comments that Mike, you got anything or? Bill?
I became aware of and I'm not sure it's a proper fit, but I think it's worth pursuing for our committee, that there's included in our waterfront district, there's a company looking that was very interested in it, that's kind of like a fresh food, quick, kind of like a mix between I think they're looking for a liquor license to be attached to that, closer to the taco place there in Crown Point, something like that Rico Taco, something like that. I had some people talking to me about there just in the last week. If that comes more formidable, we'll talk about it. I had mentioned that. I go, when this becomes more closer to reality, we'll need to talk about that. So there's definitely interest in this project.
I think the more the committee gets active talking about these things, we're going to stimulate something. And,
Yes.
It's got to start somewhere. It's going to start from here. So I'm glad we got this. And Chris, again, thank you for digging through and making this all happen, too, because the town will benefit from your good work.
the only other question that I have
Yeah.
is, are we still
Yeah.
looking at this business award? So-
Well, that's handled by the town clerk.
Okay,
Beth is going to handle that at this point.
okay,
She was going to do it maybe by the quarter now,
okay.
instead of,
3 or 4 times a year?
well, yeah, and that may come to us for a presentation. The last time she did one, it was out in the field at a site that a gentleman worked on, Mr.
Okay.
When was that? When was the last time she presented that? Was that?
We did the first one, and then,
First one was here in the spring.
yeah,
So I recall that was Welch Brothers.
Right.
Welch.
Welch's, right.
Yep. And then has there been one since? Has she done one after that?
one out on a site for,
The garden site.
The garden,
by
yep.
Heartland Park.
yep,
Heartland Park?
yep.
I don't
Across
remember
the
getting
street.
invited to that.
I mean, when you have, grand openings too, I mean, this committee can show up there too if, Chris, during the day, there's a lot of business people that could break away and some of the council members too that just to show support, I mean, we're willing to do that, and
Okay. Good to know.
just welcome them to town. So, I mean, if that happens, just get some information to us, we'll be glad to do it, so. If anybody else has anything, I'd like a motion to adjourn.
I'll make it.
I'll second.